Alright, so first, I just want y'all to understand, before I even get into this topic, I was well beyond this entire conversation, best believe me. Everything I'm about to tell y'all is 100% true. And once I edit these videos, start getting to the point of editing these videos, or once I figure out how to use TikTok and actually post these on TikTok, I will show proof of everything, because I don't know why she's trying to have this argument over TikTok when I have physical evidence of everything that happened, because a lot of the conversations we had happened in group chat. A lot of the conversations we had happened in person. But I also have multiple eyewitnesses, which I'll also at some point bring into the conversation so that we can all talk about this as a whole. But beyond all that, so what happened was, I love saying that. Anyway, what really happened is, my mom had moved to Atlanta, and she had started this. Well, not started. She had started. She had started working at this. Like, it was like a weird gig type thing where she goes to different states and do different gigs and shit. It seemed kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie, just because she got to travel, and she really seemed to enjoy it, so I was happy for her. Understand that even with everything that happened between me and my mom, could understand too that my mom wasn't innocent through any of the things that happened before this point either. But we ain't here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this main point. And I'll go back and also watch more of my mom's videos so that I can directly um, address some of the things that she said. But for right now, we're just going to talk about the truths of the matter. She came down. She was going from Atlanta to Texas to go do another gig, right? Or it was probably the Texas to somewhere else. Or it was probably from Texas to somewhere else. I don't remember quite well. It was almost like 8 years ago. So the fact that this conversation is coming back up when we don't all let this shit go is beyond me. And also understand, this was a whole legal case. And with the same evidence I'm providing you, she lost said case. In fact, she lost so badly that the judge, every lawyer involved in the case, the caseworkers through CPS, all said, "We tired of you." But, like I said, let's get into it. She ended up stuck in Ohio because she had a layover flight from Ohio to our next destination, and it got canceled because of Corona, right? And so now she's stuck in a whole other state that she didn't plan on being in. Sounds kind of similar to my situation, but I handled it a lot better. Whatever. I gave her, without even really, because I understand, me and my partner had ended up getting 2 apartments. And we were going to give one of the apartments to our friend, Deej. And in my opinion, he really, because Deej was homeless and he didn't deserve to be. He was a hardworking dude. He had, I believe he had a kid. It's been a while since I've seen him. I haven't talked to him in years because me and him also had a falling out because my mom, she refused to pay him for a job that he actually did until I actually forced her to pay him. Anyway, um, these, in my opinion, deserve to live in that apartment way more than my mom did, and not because I like him more, but more because he had been through more and he didn't deserve to be in a position that he was in. But that's my mama. And also, whether you believe this information or not, I don't give a damn. But if anybody talk bad about my mama, I'll punch you in your fucking face. I don't want nobody talking bad about her. I don't want nobody to, I don't even dislike her. I just Well, no, correction. I do dislike her, but I love her still. And I just don't want to have this conversation no more, but she want to have it, so we're going to have it. But, fucking, we let her stay in this apartment that was supposed to be Deja's, the same dude that she refused to pay. Crazy. And for the first 6 months of this apartment, living in this apartment, it was supposed to be free. My mom helped us get unemployment and stimulus checks. Well, she helped us sign up for the process. We had heard about the process from a whole bunch of different people. We just knew my mom wouldn't know what to do. So we asked her for some assistance. In my opinion, showing me how to fill out a document is the least you can do when I done gave you an apartment. Right? That sounds fair, right? It's not, and it wasn't even like for real, we even asked her. We talked about it, and she was just like, oh, I can help you do that. But anyway, she helped us get stimmy checks at the apartment, which was lovely, because that also helped us build up money, because at the time, I couldn't find a job, right? It was almost impossible to find a job, so it was just like, I'd actually, at that time, got laid off from a job. I had worked at a convention center. I worked at the convention center for almost 2 years at the time, but I got laid off, and it was hard for me to find another job, because I also, at the time, had a stupid-ass criminal record for petty theft, because I was homeless. I needed an ID so I could go back to work, and my ID cost $25, so I was just like, I'm going to take some shit and I'm going to sell it for $25 so I can get me an ID. But that's beyond the point. So I we ended up getting the money from the stimmy checks, and we had used the money. We had saved up enough. We had made sure to save up enough money for 3 months after our 6-month period had ended, right? But unfortunately, somebody stole $600 of that money. I'm not going to say no names, because me and this person done worked it out, but at the same time, that was, you know what I'm saying, that situation right there was the major contributor to me losing that apartment. But beyond that, so I ended up asking my mom, like, yo, Mom, can I do like DoorDash with you? No, incorrect, I'm sorry. First, I ended up paying the rent with the first month rent with the last little bit of money that we had in our account for everybody who was staying in our house. Except for one person, actually. One other person was actually able to contribute towards rent. And understand, there was 5 people in that house. Me and Eli helped paid our parts, and one other person paid their part, and then we paid for the other 2. Right? The next month come by, and during that next month, I had already said that basically everybody got paid rent or they gotta get the fuck out. Right? So, come time to pay rent for the second month, me and my partner go into our account, and we got like $500 something left. We like, what in the hell? There was supposed to be 3 months exactly of rent in this account. We found out that somebody had stole it was $635 from my account. I'm not going to say who it was, because like I said, we don't work it out. I'm not going to say what they stole it for, because that's their business, but that happened. Because of that, now we needed people to pitch in towards rent. But we also needed to actually pay for our own survival. You know what I'm saying? We had to eat. You know what I'm saying? We had to continue getting stuff for our daughter who at the time was actually already here. You know what I'm saying? So we had to buy baby food, diapers, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff from um, baby showers and stuff. But after um, after a month, that stuff was already starting to wear down because, like I said, a lot of my money was going missing. Also, my daughter waking up, so I'm probably going to end this video soon. But I asked my mom, I'm like, yo, can I do DoorDash with you? You give me half of the money, and then I can use that money to pay my part of the rent. Everybody else done decided to chip in and pay rent, so I need to be able to do the same. She says, yeah. So we do DoorDash together, and now I have enough money for the rent, right? Then she's just like, she wants to watch my daughter for a little while, so I let her watch my daughter. Let her watch Zamira. Cause I already, you know what? I've been trying not to use anybody's names, but I already know that my mother wasn't respectful enough to not use no names because I've seen some of her first video and my whole family talking about this shit, and they all know it's lies. So why she did this is insane. But anyway, so one day we run low on the baby food that Zamira liked to eat. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that she couldn't eat it. It was just that she liked this one. This one was better for her. It made her not burp as much, so it was more comfortable for her. We had more milk, and we only had to wait one day. Till our wick rolled over, and then we would just go get some more milk. Right? My mom was just like, nah, we're gonna buy her some milk. I'm like, no, that milk is like $80 fucking. We can't afford that. I just said that I gotta pay bills. She said, don't worry about it. Alright. So we go and we get the milk. Next day comes, it's time to pay rent. I'm like, Ma, where's the rent money? I need you to give me that rent money so that I can pay fucking my rent. She's like, oh, well, cause you bought that milk, you ain't know all the rent money that you had is gone. I'm just like, whoa, what? Like, that's not what we agreed on. If so, like I said, I would have told you not to get it because I can go buy some for free right now. So then I ain't got the rent. But the funny part is, when rent was initially due, my roommates didn't have it either. I had my rent, my roommates didn't. Everybody in the house gave me shit. Everybody in the house except for, well, actually not even everybody in the house. The two other people who had finally paid rent, or finally had money to be able to pay rent, because they hadn't paid rent the entire time they'd been there, and they had ran out of all the money that they had got from the stimmy checks, even though we didn't, you know what I'm saying? But, what ifs? They had rent, they got on my ass for not having rent, and so I'm just like, yo, Ma, this is not what we agreed on. Like, you got everybody looking at me funny right now. And she says, hold on, I'll be down there. She says, hold on, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. We'll handle this tomorrow. I said, all right. I go to sleep. Right? She comes, like, well, no, she didn't say tomorrow. She said she'll come down there at some point. It had been like 3 hours. It was like 10 o'clock at the time. I fell asleep. She came downstairs. Or was it the morning? I don't even fucking remember because I was asleep. But apparently, she had an argument with one of my roommates. Just one. The one of my roommates who actually had rent to pay. And then went upstairs and wouldn't talk to nobody. I'm like, what the hell is going on? She says, oh, I'm not paying your rent. She says this out her mouth, too. She says this out her mouth. Verbally said this. Like, I called her, and she said this out her mouth. She says, I'm not paying that rent until you kick Matthew out. I'm like, but Matthew ain't do nothing but defend himself. Because apparently what my mom came down there and said is, oh, he's letting y'all stay in the house. Y'all should be paying the full rent. Which, to be quite fair, was true. This was a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm letting y'all all stay here because y'all ain't got nowhere else to go. Y'all all got money. Y'all not supposed to be here. In fact, I can get evicted because y'all here. Y'all should be paying rent. But that wasn't the agreement that we had made. The only person who wanted to pay rent was Matthew. And Matthew paid his part of the rent. Every fucking, like if the first month rent was due, here's my money. Right then and there. Right? So it was just like, why would we kick Matthew out? And so I also want to say, my mother had been targeting Matthew. Matthew is he's part white and part Samoan. Doesn't identify as white, identifies as Samoan. My mom and Matthew have had beef since they first met because my mom views Matthew as a white man and refers to him as a white man, even though Matthew has asked her multiple occasions to not do that, right? Anywho, it was very obvious she had been targeting Matthew. She was like, oh yeah, I ain't paying the rent until you kick Matthew out. Alright, I'm like, what kind of shit? So then me and, I'm getting a phone call. Me and everybody in the house came up to a plan to just tell her we kicked Matthew out. And so we did. It was like, alright, we'll kick Matthew out. Fuck it. Even though we said that, she still refused to pay the rent. Fast forward, the rent never got paid, and we ended up moving, and everyone ended up moving out except for Matthew. Matthew stayed in the house because he had literally nowhere to go. He was from a completely different state. He came down here because we offered him a place to stay, and my mama had just fucking ruined it. Matthew, if me and Matthew were still talking, which we're not, that's complicated. But if me and Matthew were still talking, I would, he would. I probably could get him in the video to talk about this, but he'll tell you the same thing, right? But boom, we end up moving in my mom's apartment, right? And I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't know what the fuck it was, but my mom has always been too open about her business with me, right? So she tells me one day while we out door dashing that she, like, literally out her mouth says it. Out her mouth says it. Like, literally says it. And not even once. She says it in front of Eli at some point too. So I have Eli when they get home from classes. We'll all do a video and we'll talk about this. Turns out she did all of that stuff because she wanted me, Eli, and Zamira to live in her apartment so that she could keep an eye on us. So her best idea was to get us evicted from our apartment, putting an eviction on my name, so that we can come live with her, right? And we do. We ain't got no options. We ain't got no real options. We weren't as prepared to be homeless with our child. And so, not even just as prepared. We didn't want to be homeless with our child. We never did. We wanted to actually do right by her. So we was trying to make sure we stayed in this apartment as long as possible. But everybody around us fucked up our situation. But honestly, it's not their fault. Because we shouldn't have never let any of them people into that situation, to be quite frank. But that's beyond anything, right? But I'm gonna leave it at there for right now because we already had 20 minutes of video. So I'm gonna talk about this more later. I'm gonna put this one on YouTube and I'm gonna tag it. And I'm gonna tag it in the comments of my mom's video, and I'm probably gonna give it to the first person who I see in that, like in the fucking comment section. Just like boom, here's the actual truth. Like I said too, this is like just the early video because I don't know how to use TikTok. I've never used it. It's not my shit. I'm not really a social media dude at all. Like the only social media I got is a YouTube channel that I post videos to occasionally, but that's neither here nor there. So, like I said, we're going to continue this conversation later, but don't believe everything that she said. I'm not going to say that everything that she said is a lie because I haven't seen her full video, but I seen what I could and was absolutely fucking appalled because ain't no fucking way. But y'all people stay blessed and stay beautiful. I'm going to talk to y'all later.